Commander Vexthak of the Corvanian Empire stood at the head of the Galactic Council's war room, his four muscular arms crossed as he studied the holographic battlefield display. The Corvanians had earned their reputation as the galaxy's apex predators through millennia of conquest, standing 12 feet tall with natural armor plating and reflexes that could dodge plasma fire. Yet here they were, requesting assistance from the galaxy's newest and seemingly weakest member species. Humans, Vexthak growled, his mandibles clicking with distaste. Tell me again why we need these, soft creatures. Ambassador Chen Wei sat quietly in the back corner of the room, arms folded casually behind her head, feet propped up on an adjacent chair. She seemed completely at ease despite being surrounded by representatives from dozens of species that could crush her without effort. The Zephyrian crystal beings hummed with barely contained energy. The Thekmori's photosynthetic panels flared with agitation. Even the peaceful Quillan delegates towered over her diminutive 5-foot frame. The Devourer swarms have consumed 17 star systems, reported the Galactic Defense Admiral, a towering helix whose tentacles writhed nervously. Our combined fleets suffered 70% casualties in the last engagement. Our strongest warriors, our most advanced technology, nothing stops them. Vexthak's head turned toward the human. And you believe your species can succeed where we failed? Chen shrugged without moving from her relaxed position. Maybe. Probably not through direct confrontation, though. Then how? The Corvanian's voice boomed across the chamber. First, I need to ask, why do you all stand at the front when you fight? The question seemed to confuse the assembled delegates. The Zephyrian's crystalline structure chimed discordantly. To face the enemy with honor. To show strength. To lead from the front, added the Thekmori representative, his panels brightening. The strongest must bear the greatest burden. Chen nodded thoughtfully. Right. And that's exactly why you're losing. Silence fell over the chamber. Vexthak's armor plates shifted ominously. Explain yourself, human. Every species here evolved as apex predators or the galactic equivalent. You're used to being the biggest, strongest, most dangerous thing in the room. So when you encounter a threat, your instinct is to meet it head-on with superior force. Chen finally sat up, leaning forward slightly. But humans? We evolved as persistence hunters on a death world. We learned early that sometimes the smart move isn't to face the biggest predator directly. Cowardice, Vexthak spat. Survival, Chen corrected. We sit in the back because that's where you can see everything. That's where you can think, plan, and find the weakness that everyone charging forward missed. She stood and walked to the holographic display, her small frame dwarfed by the massive projection of the Devourer swarm. Your warriors see an enemy that needs to be destroyed through strength. We see a biological organism that follows predictable patterns. Chen manipulated the display, highlighting movement patterns within the swarm. The Devourers don't just consume, they're farming. They're converting stellar matter into specific compounds, following migratory routes that suggest they're preparing for something. Reproduction, maybe. Hibernation. How does this help us? The Helix Admiral demanded. Because farmers have to return to their crops. Chen pulled up star charts showing the Devourers' consumption patterns over decades. They're not randomly destroying systems, they're creating a nursery. And if we're right about their biology, they'll need to return to their starting point to complete their life cycle. Vexthak studied the projection, his tactical mind beginning to grasp the implications. An ambush. Not an ambush. A redirection. Chen smiled. We don't need to destroy them. We just need to guide them away from populated systems and into empty space where they can complete their cycle without wiping out civilizations. And if you're wrong? The Thekmori asked. Chen's expression grew serious. Then we fall back to humanity's other specialty, making things extinct when we need to. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The galaxy's strongest species had spent months trying to outmuscle the Devourers, suffering massive casualties in direct confrontation. Meanwhile, the humans had spent their time in the back, watching, analyzing, and finding a solution that didn't require anyone to die. 3 months later, as the redirected Devourer swarms disappeared into the galactic void to complete their ancient migration cycle, Vexthak found himself standing in the back of his own command bridge for the first time in his military career. The view was remarkably different from there. Chen appeared beside him, hands clasped behind her back as she watched the tactical displays. "Nice view, isn't it?" The humans' tendency to remain in rear positions during conflicts, Vexthak said slowly, it was never about cowardice. "No," Chen agreed. "Sometimes the best way to protect everyone is to see the whole picture. And you can only do that from the back." As reports came in of successful evacuations and peaceful swarm redirections across the galaxy, the Corvanian commander understood why humans had earned their place on the Galactic Council not through strength, but through wisdom. The galaxy's most dangerous species weren't always the biggest or the strongest. Sometimes, they were the ones who knew when not to fight at all.